Welcome back on this redesign series. Today we're analyzing a 1987 floor plan that was clearly showing its age. My goal here was to improve the layout and the flow as much as possible while maintaining as many of the existing walls as possible to avoid unnecessary renovation costs. Let's see how far I can push this layout. Let's go on a quick run through to see how the house flows. As soon as you enter, you're greeted by the foyer. On the left, you have the dining room. On the right, you have the living room. Behind the living room, you have the family room, then the kitchen. And this little section right here is a mudroom with a spiral staircase that connects to a loft upstairs. Then you have the powder room, and then finally you have a laundry closet. Of course, you have the garage. I almost forgot to mention that. In this case, the prospective buyer had three requests. Number one was to have an open kitchen and living area with ideally also an open dining because they don't want to feel isolated from one another as his family loves to cook together. Number two was to convert the existing dining area into an office. Number three, they want to reconfigure the entire area around the mudroom, the powder room, and the laundry closet. Right now, the mudroom is set up as a loft because it has the spiral staircase going upstairs. They want to close the ceiling and remove the staircase, and they also want a larger laundry room. So let's see what we can do about that. So let's start with criteria number one. Right away, what jumps at me is all the doors bumping into one another. That is a mess that needs to go away immediately. So what we're gonna do is remove the storage space and the pantry altogether. And now we have this whole back wall to anchor the kitchen much better. And what's great is that you have this little indent with the staircase, which is gonna provide extra depth for the fridge to not be sticking out. I put a banquette right next to the windows, and since it jets out just a little, it fits perfectly with the table without protruding with the hallway right next to it. And that's also the reason why I didn't put the bar seating on the other side, because I didn't want it to bump with the chairs at the table. For this section of the house, I strongly dislike the fact that you have to go through the mudroom to reach a powder room, and then from the powder room you have access to the laundry closet, because if you're doing your laundry, then nobody can be in the bathroom, and if somebody's in the bathroom, then you cannot be doing your laundry. And so it just is also so narrow that it forces this one-way circulation where you can just go back and forth. There's no real circulation around this area, so it's the worst place to be clustering so many places. So my suggestion would be to convert this space into a multi-purpose room combining the laundry, the mudroom, and the pantry with one central hallway connecting everything together. And this door can look like a kitchen cabinet, that way it blends perfectly with the kitchen. And now let's turn the old dining room into an office setup. Now let's tackle the remaining of the floor plan, which admittedly was the hardest part to complete. So initially I thought about putting a closet at the entry as soon as you enter and putting the powder room at the front, so that way you have quick access. The problem with this, it does function, but it's not ideal because the powder room is taken away from two of the best windows of the entire house, because you want that light to seep in all of the common areas. And right now, all of that light is being contained in a full bathroom, which doesn't make any sense, and it makes the living room extremely dark and uninviting. And front windows are such a valuable asset that I don't think it's worthwhile giving that to a bathroom. So I kept it like that and just continued with the rest of the space, knowing that this wasn't going to be the final version. So I added the dining room. I replaced those French doors with accordion doors with the flaps facing outward. That way I can maximize the internal floor space. I really like the placement of each of the rooms except for the bathroom, which by the way didn't need to be a full bathroom. It just needed to be a powder room. But since there was a space to include a shower with this distribution, I went ahead and did it. But it's not a requirement. So let's erase the bathroom and the closet. As I was analyzing this, I did realize that there was a corner in the staircase that I could really use for a powder room. I just didn't know how. But I knew a powder room could go there, so I just went ahead and drew it. And to avoid zigzags with walls and rather prioritize cleaner lines with the walls, I decided to put the door for the basement flush with the door of the powder room, which allows the kitchen to be bigger. And we're not really removing square footage from the main living areas by enclosing that entry, because already the wingspan of the door was already taking that square footage in and of itself. Now we're just containing it. Now for the entry, we're quite literally entering into a wall, so we need to shift that to the right. And at the beginning, I thought about putting the closet next to the door, but then I thought there's no need for that because I already put some shelving next to the living room, so we can just extend that and blend in the closet as much as possible with the shelving that I would be putting on the back wall. And we can add a little plan here to really break both spaces. And here at the entry, we can just put a little console table to greet you in as you walk into the home. Here's the before and the after. Relocating the powder room by this much might be the most structural significant change in the entire project. However, once you see the flow that it unlocks, I think it justifies itself, and the trade-offs become pretty clear because now you have this very modern flow yet with the charm of a 1987 home. It becomes accessible to all the common areas and it is close to the entry, which is always ideal. I also don't think I made the kitchen enough justice because of how little I emphasize how big it is. It is a proper eat-in kitchen, and not only that, but through that door, you have access to extra pantry storage, so it really is well equipped. I hope you enjoyed following along my design process and seeing how the layout evolves. If you have any suggestions or ideas of your own, comment them down below. I would love to hear what you would have done differently, and until then, I'll see you next time.